Hello. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Somebody say something in the comments so that I know it's working. There's no music playing. I'm dancing to nothing. Just waiting for friends to join. It seems like now, I say this like we've been on YouTube for so many weeks. It seems like less people are watching it live and more people are watching it later, and that's cool. Whatever. Hi, Amy. Okay, cool. It's working. All right. So while we're waiting for some more friends, I chose, where did I put it? Oh, this kind of vibe for today's class because I had a couple of people request something like Pride themed since it's the end of Pride Month. So I figured a lot of the different colors of Pride flags could lend themselves to like a nice wash of color in the background. And then I was like, well, what else are people proud of? And you're proud of your hometown. So it doesn't have to be like your hometown. It could be a place you visited, pretty much anything that has like an iconic skyline, which of course you're probably going to have to like Google or Pinterest or something later, but that's okay. So yeah, what you need to do first is choose what colors you're going to have in your background. No matter what you choose, you're probably going to want to mix white with it. Of course, I put my white too far away for me. Okay, so we're definitely going to need white paint. We're definitely going to need black paint. And then whatever other colors you choose are going to be up to you. And they don't have to, it doesn't have to be a pride flag. Like if you just want a light blue background, that's cool. You do you. Oh no, Tommy's out of white. I mean, is it necessary to have white? No, it just makes it a little creamier and a little bit more opaque. I'm sure you'll do fine without the white. Okay, so sticking with my trend of only using yellow, blue, red, white, and black, that's what I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to make all of the colors of the rainbow. I'm running out, guys. I'm running out. Out of those three primary colors, because for the most part, that's really all you need to get started with painting. So I want to make sure that everybody has this as accessible as possible. So let me grab myself some yellow, red, and blue. I think I'm running out of this too. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice sound. And I'm going to get myself some white because I want it to be a little bit on the creamier and lighter side, just so that my black skyline really kind of pops when I get up to it. So what else you need is something to put your paint on, palette, piece of plastic, whatever. Something to rinse your brushes in. I didn't really specify what brushes you need here because it's really going to depend on the size of your canvas, but generally the one big background brush and the one skinnier rounded kind of brush will be fine, just like we've been doing. And then something to dry your paintbrush on. So I am rinsing my big background brush off, drying him off, and then we can get started. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to start with my red. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use straight up red first. And I'm going to put like just a little bit, like one brush width of red up here. And again, whatever texture you kind of feel like using, go for it. If you want to have like not a smooth sky and you want it to be kind of like rough, like almost as if there's clouds, that's cool. Totally up to you. But I'm going to just kind of go for the basic smooth guy here. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of white on my brush, And then on my palette, I'm just gonna kind of like roughly mix it together. It's gonna look a little pink, but you've got so much red up here that it's just going to kind of help make it a little bit more solid looking, a little bit more opaque perhaps. And having that red be just a little bit lighter is gonna help with the blend into orange. So for me, with this background, if that's kind of what you're like going for, what you want to emulate, it is all about the blend. And we've done a couple of things like that before where we want it to really softly go into each color. And that's just a personal choice of mine. I like that look. Sorry, I have like an absurd amount of highlight on my nose and it's distracting me. I tried to do a TikTok with my makeup and it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, now that I'm thoroughly distracted. Now, I've got red on my brush. I don't need to wash my brush because I'm going into orange, which is half red. Now, I've mentioned before that my yellow, this yellow that I'm almost running out of, has a considerable amount of white in it. So I don't know that I need to add white right away, but I'm just using that yellow and the red that I have on my brush, maybe grabbing a little bit more red, and making an orange. Now, you're going to want to go right up to it and start working. I didn't even take nearly enough paint on my brush. And here's the thing too, you kind of have to eyeball how much room each color is going to occupy on your canvas just based on the size of your canvas. So I'm actually going to do more orange than I probably need, and I'll show you why. So you started off with just a very little bit of red. Now I'm going to add more orange. I do think I want some more white in there. So I'm going to grab some more white. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to keep bringing this down. Okay. Now, it's kind of messy. It's not really smooth. I went a little farther down than I probably should have or wanted to or needed to. That's fine. Because what I'm going to do now is with my dirty brush that has this yellow-orange concoction on there, I'm going to grab more red. And I'm going to go back up here into my red and blend it in. So I'm just going over and over and over again. And you see like here versus here, like that softer gradient. That's why I wanted to add just that little tiny bit of white into my red so that that creaminess of the orange kind of worked, if that makes any sense. I'm sure it does. Okay, so now I'm going to smooth out this side and blend out this side. Really, we're just going for a smooth transition between red and orange. Cool. All right, now I'm going to wash my brush because we're going to go into just the yellow section. And the yellow we're going to make pretty significant. So I'm washing my brush. I'm going to give it a good dry too. And I'm just going to take my yellow. Again, if you don't have white in your yellow, you're probably going to want to add white. I'm probably going to add white at some point anyway, but I'm just going to start with yellow. That's really bright. I'm going to add white. I never know like what I want until I put it on the canvas and see what it looks like. And then I'm like, not what I want. Okay, so adding some white into my yellow. And I'm going to go all the way up to my orange. But kind of messy, like I'm not sweating the blend yet. And you want to have this yellow go pretty far down. I would say get it to be about at the midway of your canvas, approximately. And again, we want to have enough paint on our brushes to cover up that canvas texture, but not so much that it leaves like visibly raised areas of paint, because we do need this to dry in order to get our skyline going. So see, I gotta cover up all this canvas texture. Okay, now I've got this like messy kind of area. I'm gonna get some more orange. And you'll probably have to mix this again, and it's fine. I didn't have to wash my brush because the orange has the yellow and the red in it. So I'm just gonna go over, and if that's too dark, it's not a big deal. We'll just grab some more white and yellow mixture and just kind of blend this in. This is not an exact science. It's a little bit darker than I want. So I do need to get some more yellow-white mixture in there just to soften this orange. Yeah, there we go. That's why when you're blending, you never want to get, well, I don't want to say never, but you don't want to get too attached to any particular color because as you're blending, that color might change. And then, I mean, you might like the new color better, you may not, but you also may not have a choice. Okay, so I was working on blending that out. Need some yellow. Oh, here's a fun little, we'll take a second to give you a little tips and tricks portion. If you have bigger tubes of paint like this and you are, use it like a tube of toothpaste. So I'm squeezing and I'm going to slowly roll. You want to do this while your lid is purely on, or else you're just going to squeeze the paint out all over yourself. So as you squeeze out each section, you can roll it forward until it gets like really puffy and taut here with the air, and then a binder clip. I like that. And if you have like hooks on your wall like I do, that's how I hang my little tubes of paint. All right, so now I'm going to get myself some more yellow, and see I've let the air out now. So once I get all this air out, I can close my lid again, take my binder clip off, and squeeze it and roll it and get that paint as far down as I can. Wow, I'm really almost out of this yellow. And then binder clip. All right. So I'm still blending this background. Sometimes I find that I need to add a bit of water with, I think it's this brush, because I never had this issue before of needing water in my acrylics. So if you're having trouble blending, you can absolutely add just a little bit of water. You don't want so much that it turns it into a watercolor, but just a little bit could help you blend. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna wash my brush off again just because I got some of that orange in there. And I'm gonna dry my brush off. Now, red, orange, yellow, green. Okay, so if you've been with me before, you know that green is blue and yellow. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna skip green entirely first. And I'm just gonna grab some blue. Now I do want to add a little bit of white to this blue because this blue is real dark. So I'm just gonna take some blue and some white. I don't want it to be like sky blue, but just, you know, a little bit later. And so I'm going to skip some space and I'm going to put my blue down. And again, you're going to want to put more blue than you think you need because we're going to be taking up some of that real estate when we blend. So I have a nice big chunk of blue here. I've had to add water for a couple of my older paint tubes. Oh yeah, you can definitely add a little water to the tube if it's the kind that has a wide enough mouth to get some more out as well. Kind of like you do with shampoo when you're near the bottom of your shampoo. Unless I'm the only one who does that. Am I the only one who does that? I just don't like wasting things in general. She says as she has like literal mountains of paint that she's let dry on her palette. Okay, so I'm going to take this blue up here and down a little bit further. Now, the way I'm doing this, again, if you've chosen different colors, you're kind of on your own. You get to choose how you blend. White is always helpful to blend. But if you've chosen to just stick with the traditional rainbow like I'm doing, I lost my train of thought entirely. Oh, right. The way it works for me kind of is like this upper portion is like a nice fiery sky sunset, and then the green and blue kind of work like water. Now, that also works particularly because if you're doing Nashville, or actually a lot of major cities, I would assume are kind of near a body of water because a lot of like major cities started out as port cities. This could be a really bad history lesson. But that kind of works because Nashville's on a river. But if you have different colors or your city that you are going to do your cityscape for is not on water, then it doesn't matter. We're all just painting together. We're painting something different, but we're doing it together. That is the thing. Like I am teaching. I think I might have glossed over this a little bit, but I'm doing this guy. And if you didn't have any other color inspiration and you like the rainbows for whatever reason and you want to stick with the rainbow, that's cool. But unless you are also from Nashville or just really love Nashville, when I get to doing the skyline, you don't have to do that. Do your own thing. Please make this yours. Doesn't matter if it's different colors, different cities, make it yours. Let's see. Me sitting here getting creative with yes. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like linear either. I mean, I know that's how the pride flags are, and that would be like the easiest way for you to interpret that it is actually a pride flag. But be creative. The ace colors, the white, gray, black, and purple would look really cool. I know that we're like 18 minutes in and you've probably already started. But like if the white was like a moon and then it glowed out purple and then gray and black, like, so if it was started as a circle and it was, anyway, you do you. I'm sure it'll look fantastic. Okay, so I got my blue. Now I want to start making a green. Now, with blue and yellow and white, it makes this really pretty kind of like aqua, almost minty green, which I really like. So I'm just going to work on getting this blended down into my blue. But also, I'm going to stop right where the green meets the yellow because my yellow is dry now. And I'm going to want to do a little bit more work there to get that blended. So I'm just going to take my green and bring it down into my blue. And I'm bringing my green all the way up to my yellow, but I'm not worried about blending it. And I might have to grab some more blue to soften this up. Usually I say, you know, it's not really about your background. Your background is just kind of setting a stage. But the background is significant here, so you want to spend your time taking care of that. Now I'm going to wash my brush because I want to get more just yellow and white and blend that down into the green. So I want to get that green out of my brush. Let's see, is it out? It's enough. All right. Oh gosh, I have no more yellow. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to take my yellow and white. I've got yellow and white mixed together on my brush. I grabbed a little bit of water to help it blend with this green. And so see how this is why whenever you're blending colors together on both sides, you're going to want more real estate than you think you need, because some of this, just like it got eaten up by the orange. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Might have gone a little too far with that one, but that's okay. I'll just, I'll make it work. I'll stick a building in front of it. Let's see here. There we go. That's kind of softer. Okay. I'm good with that. And now the last color is purple. Now, when I mix blue and red together, I get like a really deep, dark purple. If you have a purple paint and you'd rather just use the purple paint, you absolutely can. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it just to brighten it up a little bit. The shade of purple that it makes when I blend these two colors together is not like, holy moly, that's purple. And I have purple paint, I have violet paint, but like I said, you don't need a ton to get a whole bunch of different colors. And I think mixing paint is just fun in general. So I'm going to start down at the bottom with this purple. And now the more red you use, the warmer it'll be. And the more blue you use, the cooler it'll be. So if you're mixing, that's up to you. So I'm just going down here and doing the very bottom of my rainbow. And so this one's kind of like the red where it just blends in one direction. So once you've got a good amount of purple on there, you can start to grab some more blue to blend it together. And your blue will just smush into your purple, and your purple will smush into your blue. And it's kind of pretty. How are we doing? How's everyone feeling? Okay. Looks good. My bottom down here is much darker than my bottom over there. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's okay. You know, however you want to do it. All right, so now is where you're going to take a short break. And during this short break, you are going to find a picture of, unless you like just know what your skyline looks like, is like maybe there's just one. See, like with Nashville, there's like really two iconic things that kind of make it stand out as Nashville, and that's the Batman building. It's an AT&T building downtown Nashville, and then the stadium. There's a Nissan stadium. So other than that, I kind of just make up what the other buildings are because they're, you know, buildings. They're rectangles. Maybe some of them have like a spire. Some of them have like a little pointy roof, and you just kind of make it up as you go along. So unless you have a really good idea of some iconic shapes for your skyline, I tell you, please go find a picture, whether that's on Google or Pinterest or whatever. Go find that because we will need that for inspiration. Also, you don't have to write the city name, but if you want to, you may want a piece of chalk to do that. So if you have chalk or a pencil, you know, whatever you've used, if you've taken any of our other classes where we did lettering, white chalk is really easy to paint over. So find that and find your skyline. And if anybody has questions or wants to chat in the chat, let me know. I would say come back in like 5 minutes. So we can have a little chat in here. And if nobody says anything, I'll just start talking about television, which is all I ever do anyway. Okay, so I implore all of you to watch 911 if you're not watching it already. It's fantastic. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Oh, there's some thunder in Connecticut. Uh-oh. Yeah, it says, the weather for me says that it's supposed to like thunderstorm on and off for the next like 10 days, which is great. Awesome. What else am I watching? Nothing. I need to watch this season of Roswell, which I think I said last week, and I still have not watched it. Okay, what can I do besides a skyline? Sure. So you can do a bridge. Bridges are cool. I guess they're technically part of a skyline, but if you just did like one really like cool bridge with lots of lines and stuff, you can also do, somebody had said that they like live in the middle of nowhere, and I suggested windmills. Windmills are really cool to paint. Here, I will show you. So if you're doing a bridge, let me get some black paint. Okay, so bridges, like you don't even really need a picture of a bridge. It doesn't even have to be like a particular bridge. If you want it to, then absolutely pull up a picture. And anytime you're looking to do like this, look up for like so-and-so silhouette because it'll already make it black for you. So bridges, super easy. Sorry, painting on the back of a canvas is kind of a weird thing because it's not primed. Okay, so you just do some like lumpy bumpies. You do like a bottom part here, and then you can just give yourself some lines. And obviously you're gonna take more than like the 4 seconds that I'm taking. But if you do that across like a skyline, looks super cool. Also windmills. Windmills are really cool if you give yourself like a little circle in the center. And then you have to picture a windmill as like a circle, like kind of like fan blades, because it's a windmill, it's a fan. So you picture a whole circle going around, but then it's cut into like triangles where it's wider at the farthest end. And I obviously am like not even measuring or trying to make them even, but that'll look like a windmill. You can fill these in. And then you just give it like a little base, you know? And you can go crazy with the base. You can like kind of make it look really cool. Windmills are awesome. Love windmills. What else can you do on instead of a skyline? You could do like a little house. I was considering, I'm thinking of like all different things I want to do for these paint classes. And I was gonna do like a little red barn painting maybe one day. If you guys want. I don't know how y'all feel about like country-ish kind of decor. But like a little kind of cabin guy. So you just kind of, I did that really fast and I didn't explain anything I was doing. But if you just want to give yourself like some land to work on there, and then you do a little rectangle with a little triangle on top. And then you extend it this way and you kind of meet this line, has to go also over there because that's your roof. And then you kind of end it right there. You'd fill all that in, obviously, because you still want it to be a silhouette. And then you would just kind of, when we go in and do the highlights, you would want to kind of highlight those lines again. Maybe not this one. You don't want to highlight this one. You want that one to go away. But you'd highlight those lines again to make it look like a cabin. Okay, those are all the ideas I have for other things other than what we're doing. Flip. All right, let's see, did anybody else? Since I move so much, take the, ooh, that's cool. Like a mixed thing, mixed skyline, I like that. How would you incorporate a bridge? I mean, you could just do a bridge across the whole dang thing. Bridges are giant. Or if you wanted to incorporate a bridge in a skyline, I would say put it at like the beginning or the end so it doesn't, so it's not in the middle of nothing. I hope that makes sense. Blue gradient for the ocean. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So you also get to decide on your style of skyline. I think I've given y'all enough time to find some sort of picture inspiration, but you can decide if you want to go like traditional, like straight across with your line and then all of your buildings like perfectly straight up and down like buildings should be. Or you can go a little wonky like I did. You could even go like super wonky and kind of make everything topsy-turvy if you want to. That's your prerogative. I'm going to actually do my skyline with my big brush. It's really going to depend on the size of your canvas, which brush you use. But I squirted some black, but I'm going to need some more here. Okay, we'll start there. Okay, so in the interest of me copying what I've done here, I'm going to make it wonky again. So I'm going to say it's going to start just south of the middle, and I'm going to pull it up and bring it back down. Now, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I didn't leave that much room for buildings. So I guess if I'm fluffing this out and making it a little thicker, I'm gonna kind of bring it down. Oops. So I think I went a little high. So I'm just bringing it down a drop here. That's okay, because we're gonna build on top of this. Now, highly recommend whatever skyline you've chosen or whatever like iconic look you're going for. You want to do that iconic thing first. So if you are just going to do like rolling hills with a windmill, you're going to want to put your windmill where you want it, and then you can just kind of build some little hills around it. If you're doing New York, first of all, highly recommend not doing the Statue of Liberty if you're doing New York. Too much detail. But if you're doing a, post 9/11 New York, you're going to want to do the Empire State Building first. If you're in Austin, or Austin is your favorite, that one, the bridge is kind of iconic, so you might just do that bridge. You just kind of have to play it by ear with whatever you've chosen. So I'm going to start with the Batman building. On this one, I didn't make it the biggest, and it really is. It's huge. I don't know if anybody's seen a picture of the Nashville skyline, but the Batman building is like significantly bigger, in my opinion, than any other building. So I'm going to plop him right here. And I'm not really walking y'all through the intricacies of your iconic building. I want you to kind of be able to look at a picture, reference a picture, and kind of be able to do your own thing with it. I will show you some tips and tricks for those little extra buildings that you're going to kind of fill in that aren't iconic or anything specific, because those can kind of be anything. So I'll show you what I do with that. But your iconic ones, I'm kind of leaving up to you, which I think is good. I think you guys can absolutely handle it. All right. Batman building, check. Now I know I also have my stadium. Most skylines, I would say, have maybe one or two iconic things that really make it stand out as that particular city. So if you just kind of get those going in there first, you can build the rest around it, and it's not as big of a deal. So actually, let me see if I can scoot this in just a little bit more here. Okay. So for all your little extra buildings, mixing it up height-wise and size-wise is going to be super helpful and important, in my opinion. So maybe right next to the Batman building, I'm going to just have like a little short guy right there. And then maybe I'll have a taller one. I'm absolutely using the size of my brush to my advantage here. You can also give yourself like little tops to the building so they can have tiers. I probably should use a smaller brush for this detail stuff, but I'm lazy. So when I say tiers, I mean like you can have a wider portion of the building and then a narrower portion stacked on top, kind of like a cake. You can also have slanted buildings, so you can have like a little slanty guy right here. I don't know that there is actually a slanted building next to or near the Batman building in Nashville, but it works for me. If you want to be like hyper realistic, then you can absolutely just go by exactly what your picture looks like, but I don't need to do. And I'm going to give this guy like a spire. There's definitely buildings in every city skyline that have antennas or spires, so I'm just going to plop one right there. And then I'm just gonna kind of fill it in. So this guy's gonna be shorter. This guy's gonna be taller. So this is where having a little variation is really helpful. It doesn't have to be like a big difference like that. You can have like a slightly shorter one next to it. And this one might be wider too. Now, if you chose to go curvy, remember that the tops of your buildings are going to tilt, so they don't all have to be, if this is curved, then this top line would be curved too. Does that make sense? Again, this is not photorealistic, so if you're not adhering to anything that I'm saying or rules that aren't actually rules, then you're fine. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm just going to end this one off here. Okay, that's a good height. And then I'll fill in the spaces over here. And think about it this way. They're all different widths and heights because not only is a skyline usually not an actual row of buildings, they're all different depths. So from wherever you're looking, you'll have ones in the background that are farther away. They might be bigger. So like this building might be bigger than this building. This building is just closer to what I'm looking at. So that's why there's like not that many rules here. Okay, maybe here I'll put a slightly taller building, but it's going to be really skinny. Maybe not that skinny. That's kind of not realistic, right? Maybe a little bit wider here. Oops. That one got a little wonky on me. More wonky than I intended. There we go. Maybe I'm going to give him like a little triangle on top. There we go. I like that. And then he'll just kind of have a short one here. And then a little bit. Some more going here. Okay. And I've got a skyline. It may not be accurate, but it's there. Okay. So while that's drying, before we do our highlighting in our buildings, if you've chosen to, I left a significant amount of room here, so it kind of looks like it needs something. So if you've chosen to put your city name, or maybe like, I don't know, Home Sweet Home, or whatever you want to write on here. Now is where I'm going to do it. This is pretty much dry for me, so I should be good with my chalk. My suggestion again is if you have done any of the classes that have lettering, I think we had like two classes, maybe just one. Anyway, don't go crazy on the lettering. as far as like super duper calligraphy that you've never done before. If you write in script or cursive or calligraphy all the time, then absolutely go to town. But if it's not something that you do a lot, if you have a hard time doing it with chalk or a pencil, you're going to have an even harder time doing it with a paintbrush. So just keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with like tall, skinny block lettering or bubble lettering. There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever style you want to do, whatever you think would be easiest for you to do with a paintbrush. I'm still not super awesome with script and calligraphy, but I enjoy it, so I'm going to stick with it. Spacing is generally the hardest thing. If you feel super confident and you just want to go right in with a paintbrush, you can. But the reason I like to do chalk or pencil first is because spacing is usually the issue. So I'm going to go over here. Okay, I mean, it's not my favorite, but it'll do. There's no reason that you have to do it in 4 seconds like I did. If you're using chalk, one of the biggest reasons we use chalk is because you could just take a little towel or paper towel with some water on it and wipe it right off. So if you do something that you don't like, feel free to make some changes. Feel free to do it a couple times until you're happy with it. As far as what brush to use, if you are doing like script calligraphy kind of things, or anything like skinny, I would use a skinnier round brush, like this guy. Can you see him? He's kind of misshapen because I don't take care of my brushes. So I would use something like him. What else? As far as what color, I chose to do a white-yellow combo because I kind of covered up a lot of my yellow and I wanted to bring it back in. But if you're using different colors, there's nothing wrong with just going with a white lettering. Or maybe if your color is really light and you want to do black lettering, whatever works for you. Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to go with red because, and when I say red, I'm going to make it pink because I have a bunch of red on my palette already and I don't want to waste it. And I also have a bunch of white. So I'm switching it up. I'm going to make a light pink lettering on my Nashville here. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like together. If you're using a skinny brush like this, if you're blending, if you're mixing your color with it too, after you do that, it might be like really puffy and overloaded with paint. So scrape it off a little bit, get some of that excess paint off. You could even wash it out if you need to, but so that you can get that shape kind of back. And you might want to roll it in the paint afterwards. That'll really help hold its bristles together and keep it nice and pointy. If you're using the chalk and you've never done this before, you can just paint right over it. Your paint will eat it up. I'm screwing this up already, but that's okay. Try not to do what I'm doing. Just do your own thing. Okay. See, I need to listen to myself more because when it comes to lettering, I really like when it's kind of like light and sketchy. And I was trying to make it not light and sketchy over there and I screwed it up. So. Okay. Also, doing lettering like this off to the side and in front with my wrist bent this way is not the easiest. So if you're a normal painter and your canvas is in front of you and either on an easel or flat like this, you should have an easier time with your lettering than I am. But also, don't hold your breath. I've told you guys this before. Depriving your brain of oxygen does not make you paint better. And if you have like a fancy long brush, do not hold it back here. You look super fancy, but you have zero control. Hold your brush like a pencil, especially when doing lettering. Yeah, it's a mess, but that's okay. Also, the lighter you press, the thinner your lines will be. So if you're looking for a thinner, like less chunky vibe, you can just press really light. And as you can see, there is some, well, I don't know if you can see with the glare, but there's some chalk showing where I didn't exactly cover up the lines, and that's fine. When it's dry, you can just go right over that with a little damp cloth and it'll take it right off. Okay, and then I'm just gonna dot my eye with a little boop and a boop to kind of look like a heart. This is not my best lettering work, but it's fine. Now, when it comes to highlighting your buildings, if they're still super wet, you can wait on this. If not, it's not like the biggest deal if a little bit of black mixes in for this part because we want it to be like kind of subtle, but also not. So highlighting them in this instance, some of it is kind of outlining the buildings just a little bit if you need some separation, like between two that are touching, etc. But a lot of it is also giving the appearance that there's lights in these buildings. So I chose to use the yellows and oranges that would have been like represented in the sky. But if you want to use white, that's fine too. I might do that this time just to see what it looks like. And because I still have a whole lot of white on my palette and I don't want to waste it. So I have cleaned and dried my Skinny Round brush. This is Spencer. I forgot to introduce you to Spencer. And I'm getting some white on him. And now there's a couple different ways that you can kind of denote buildings. Lights in buildings or like floors of windows kind of thing. So one of them is to just do like quick lines, and they don't have to be perfectly spaced. They don't have to all be the same length. Just those lines are going to give you the appearance that there's like rows of windows. You can also do actual little like dots. If you're going to do dots, I suggest flipping your brush around and dipping the butt in the paint. And then you can do like actual dots. And again, you don't want to, or you don't have to have all the same amount of windows or lights on every building because like not every single building, it's going to look like dominoes if there's a whole bunch of them that are all the same. So you can just kind of, here and there, add some of those. I'm going to do some dots over here. They should be in a row. That one I kind of failed with the rows, but it's okay. Like they should follow like the rows of a floor, a story. Now you can also, with your brush side this time, just like you did those horizontal lines, you can also kind of dot in some vertical window lines. Just another kind of idea here. And I would mix it up. I would do a whole bunch of these. Now, if you are doing Nashville, the Batman, the AT&T logo is kind of right here. So it usually gets like a circle right here. You can even, if it's a really big building and you want to go a little cuckoo, you can do a little like squiggle, whatever you're vibing. I'm going to kind of separate these guys here. If you feel like you want to accent the sides of any buildings or the tops of any buildings to separate them, you can do that as well. And not every building has to have lights. They just don't. Maybe everybody's on vacation. I kind of like it with white. And again, you can highlight with, like, you could put these lights on with any color you want. I would recommend, like, if it's a light color like yellow, something like that, you would need to mix the white in so that it stands out from the black. So you would probably have to mix white into almost any color to get it to show up on top of black, if that's what you choose to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You get to kind of create what you got going on. And I'm super excited to see what y'all created, since we all kind of did something different. You can even go in, like, let's say if you mixed it up like I did and you're like, oh, well, now the pink down here, like there's no pink anywhere else, it kind of looks weird. Okay, so maybe I'll put some pink in here. So if you did what I did and you're just like, not digging it, like I want some pink now, so that it looks like it came from somewhere, cool, do it up. Now I've got some pink in my buildings. Same thing goes for the lettering. If you put white up here and you're like, well, now there's no white anywhere else. Okay, so take a little bit of white and, kind of highlight your lettering. You get to decide where it goes, what it does. Just go to town. But once you are happy with your highlights and your lettering, that's it. We're done. You made your own masterpiece. And I'm super excited to see them because I want to see all your favorite cities or your hometowns or what you chose to do instead and what you're proud of. So post it on Twitter. But I didn't see anybody post a picture in the comments on YouTube last week, so I don't think you can. But if you can, go for it there. Post it on Twitter. Tag me. Use the hashtag Quarantine Creatively so I can find you. And thanks for hanging out with me again this week. And I'll post, I know this one I posted like on Thursday because I forgot. But I will try to post what we're doing next week on Tuesday at the latest. And yeah, love you guys. Mwah.